you want a safe environment for your children? Don't you want to know that the food that you're feeding them is not filled with chemicals that are going to give them cancer and chronic disease? And don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again? Thank you all very, very much, and God bless you, and God bless America.
All right. So I know there's a lot of people who watch the show, who are in this community, who don't love politicians, who think that it's all a show. And that's fine. That's your opinion. I'm not going to try to talk you out of that. But at the same time, you also have to understand here that the fact that that's even being talked about right now is huge. Because I think for the most part, for the last couple decades at least that I've been around, I never heard about any of this stuff. I never heard about seed oils. I never heard about the chemicals that they put in the foods or in the water. I never heard about any of this stuff. And slowly it's been leaking out and making its way into the mainstream. And then you have people like Trump and RFK, who are the most influential people on this side of the world, or the world in general. But they're talking about this stuff now, and they're making actionable steps to try to change the direction here that we've been going. Because 50 years of fiat dollar, the 50 years since we went off the gold standard, the quality of our food and the products and the health products that we use has deteriorated to an unimaginable level. And the reason for that is because when they print money, this is kind of like the big picture analysis of the whole thing. But when they print money, it makes your money worth less. We know that. But instead of like our prices going up and up and up, they actually have just exported everything to be made in other countries because it's cheaper that way. They're extorting all these different countries to produce cheap products with cheap ingredients just so they can keep prices down. That's the whole game. Because if things were made in America, if things were made in Canada, it would cost a lot more, and they wouldn't be able to hide the inflation as well as they've been able to do it. If we were using high quality ingredients in our food, they wouldn't be able to hide the inflation. And that's why everything has turned to shit since we went off the gold standard, because their whole goal now is to hide the inflation numbers. And the best way to do that, to keep prices low, is by using the cheapest ingredients that they can find and exporting our labor and finding the cheapest way to make that, which isn't good. And we're seeing the signs of that now. After decades of this happening, we're seeing the result of the food that we've been eating. And so to me, the Make America Healthy Again slogan, I think, is something that people can relate to a lot more than Make America Great. Great just sounds like, yeah, we're going to have a great day today. How are you doing? Great. Like it's just kind of a word. But when you change that to be Make America Healthy Again, I think that that's something that people can actually rally around and find ways to make changes. And when you have people like Trump and RFK actually talking about it in front of this amount of people, I really believe that it's a good thing. So like I said, you can think whatever you want about them and the whole system itself, but that's a very positive thing in my mind, in my eyes. Fiat is slavery. I see we got a raid from username is Jim. I don't know how raids work or what the heck happens there, but anyways, thanks for the raid. Okay, so I missed a lot of chats here, but that's okay. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about today in terms of the show. And I talk about American politics a lot, even being from Canada here. because America is like our older brother. And I have a little brother myself, so I can't really, relate to the whole his perspective, but that's how I see America, is like our big brother. We're their little brother. And we think about America a lot. America doesn't think about us too often. But the America and everything happening in America has a trickle down effect into every other country on earth. And I think that even if you took away their ability to print money, which I think is going to happen over the coming years, but that's not only going to help people in America and Canada, but it's going to help people in these countries who have been extorted by America for a lot of years. You think about countries like Africa, or not, Africa is not a country, continents like Africa, countries within Africa. And it hasn't been so much the US that have been doing it to Africa, it's been Europe. But then you have China, you have Thailand, you have Cambodia, you have all these different countries that the US has been basically controlling for all these years, forcing them to produce cheap products to keep our illusion of this whole thing going. Because the only way that we can continue this nonsense is by keeping the prices low. And the only way that we can continue keeping the prices low is by using the shittiest ingredients we can find. So I mean, all you have to do, you don't have to look too far. I know Americans don't like traveling outside of America or thinking about other countries outside of America. And, 60% of my audience is actually from America, but it's the truth. But you don't have to look too far. Go to Europe, go to Portugal for a week. You would not believe the contrast between a country like Portugal, who is slowly falling towards the same path that we're going down to, but they still have all their values there, their culture. They eat healthy food. They're still using the fiat dollar, but they eat much healthier there. They exercise. They don't have the seed oils that we have. You look at a picture of people in Portugal, you look at a picture of people in America. America is so fat, and it's nobody's fault other than the central banks, the governments who have been doing this to us for many years now. So I think that we'd still in our lifetime have the ability to turn that around, to get rid of why do they use seed oils? Because they're cheap. Canola oil, which I think was invented here in Canada, is used to fucking lubricate engines. That's what it was designed to do. And now it's in all of our food because it's so cheap to produce. So, you compare countries like Portugal and the US and how fat America is. And the whole reason for that is fiat. The whole reason for that is fiat. So when that changes, we're probably going to be a little bit more wealthy ourselves and richer ourselves, but we're going to be a lot healthier. And I think that that's what we should actually be striving for. Because without health, you have nothing.